Is there a big idea in you? Do you have a genius idea? Maybe it's for a business, maybe it's for a product, and it's been in the back of your mind for a while, but you haven't really been able to figure out how to get it started. On today's Iconic TV Live, we're showing you exactly what are the 10 steps you can go through to launch your big new idea and make it a great success. So let's get started. Today we're talking about giving you a handbook that you can use to get your idea started. And for this show that we're going to do today, I want you to know that we also have a free resource for you. I'm going to give you some codes there that you can access it, and you can also just request it down below. Just type freebie and I will get you the actual Startup Handbook so that you can use it right away, and you'll have instant access to it and to download it, and you will love it. So I want to go ahead and get started because we're going to dive right through and go really quick on the 10 things that you need to do to get your startup started and how to do it the right way. Lots of people have ideas, but a lot of times they don't follow up on them. And if you want to make sure that you get the handbook, all you have to do is go ahead and scan that QR code, or you can also go to conniescavella.com/free gift, and you will get that. All you have to do is ask for the Startup Handbook, and I want to make sure that you do get that in your hot little hand. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we're talking about those 10 frameworks. What are the things that you need to do that will actually change everything for you? And no, it's not just sitting around and waiting and hoping maybe the timing is right or whatever. You really do have to take action. And one of the things that's the most important to understand is that you don't have to see everything. You don't have to see the whole picture and the whole landscape, but you do need to get started. Because quite frankly, we were talking today, I was with a business partner of mine, and we were up on the 34th floor in the downtown San Diego in a high rise. We're talking about businesses and what it takes for these startups and founders and all these people seeking funds and looking for money. And you know what? People just hang on to that much of the idea. They seem to know the thing that they're good at. They fall in love with their widget, but they don't understand how the whole business works. And then we realize that, maybe if they did realize how much they had to put into it, all the different parts and pieces that had to go into it, they might not even start. So just think about this. I just need you to figure out, what's my one thing? What is the thing that's going to make a difference, and how do I get started? Once you start that idea, you make the decision to get going, that's when you need somebody like us to come in and help you, guide you, give you a strategy, put together the right people, the right pieces, the processes, and the playbooks to make it all work. That's how simple it really can be. It doesn't have to be complicated. So the question is not what now, right? You should be asking what now. How do you turn that? I wonder what if I did that, or what would happen if I did that, or what if I did that? Rather than that, just why not now? Let's do it right now. Okay? This is what I want to encourage you to do. The future is in favor of entrepreneurs right now, and if you are thinking, maybe I do want to transition out of my career, maybe you see the handwriting on the wall that your company is probably going to be shrinking, even if it's the biggest company in the world. I just talked with someone recently who was let go from Amazon. Actually, 3 people let go from Amazon. Big companies, and they're letting people go. Even some of the large airlines that never lay people off, they're letting people go. And so what happens? What is the process that you need to think about as you're getting started? And brainstorming isn't enough. You can't just think about things and then hope maybe I'll get lucky and maybe I'll run into somebody, right? Great ideas are not just found, they're built. You really have to start building them and coming up with ideas, strategies, pieces, parts, what ifs, do your research. It's really quite fun when you get going, but it's not just a flash in the pan. If you're just looking for an instant fix, just something to get you out of your job, okay, that might not turn into a legendary startup company. We want you to build an iconic company and something that will last the test of time. And so one of the first things you have to do is a pattern interrupt, right? You have to change the game, right? Like scratch things out that you were doing. Most entrepreneurs and founders, as they get started, what happens is they get stuck. And they often are stuck in this hamster wheel doing the same thing over and over and over. How do they get there? Oftentimes it's by looking in the wrong places. Maybe you're just looking on YouTube or Instagram and looking at these ideas, and these people did that. But if you are following the crowd, you're not going to have a standout company and a standout product. You really do need to make this unique to you, okay? And I'm going to show you how you figure out what is the thing that you really do have to do. So let's dive in to these 10 strategies, these 10 frameworks that are going to make you millions with your startup. And the first thing is founder market fit, okay? What you want to understand is that what do you think the world needs, right? Do you know what they need? Is there a way that you can find something that people are asking for before they even realize they need it, right? That's really what we're talking about here. And so you're trying to have an unfair advantage, okay? And that is going to be your launch pad, something that sets you apart from everybody else. What's that difference? That is the difference maker in your business. That's how you're going to be able to come up with one of these ideas. The second thing I want you to think about is how can you solve a personal problem? It's like, what's going on here, right? And what is it that drives you crazy? And how could you fix it? Like, is there something that, oh, I hate it when that happens, or every time in the morning this happens? Maybe it's if you're in the winter and there's something like you hate the part about when your windshield is covered with ice in the morning. I used to live in Colorado, and I used to have a condo in the ski resorts, and I'd ski every day, and it was awesome. But then when I just wanted to go for a quick drive, gosh, it was a 30-minute thing to be able to get your car defrosted. And it used to drive me nuts. What's a little thing that you could do that you could scratch your own itch, right? And it would help millions of people. I had another thing with cars. As you guys know, I used to own a racing company. I have a little car addiction, just a little one. I love speed. I love cars and fine engineering. That's why I love businesses. It's really a matter of fine engineering. And so I used to have a Jaguar, and the old classic ones, you know, before they look like a Toyota now, but with the really cool, sexy styling. But the what do you call it? The headlights used to fog up and they'd get cloudy. And I thought, wow, how do you fix that? You know what it turns out? WD-40 works great on that, right? Somebody can figure out something. WD-40 is an amazing product that can do so many different things. And it's a billion-dollar company. What could you do that could become one of those standout companies and those standout products? Consider your passions. That's the third thing that you want to think about, is what would you do if you woke up and nobody told you what to do and you weren't even going to get paid for it? Okay, that kind of passion will fuel your perseverance. It'll make you keep going when it's hard. It'll keep going after the end of the day. You tuck the kids in, and then you're still going to work until 1 or 2 in the morning. See, that fuel is your survival. Okay, how can you be so passionate about this that if you never ever made a dime, but you knew there was something there, you would do it? That's one of the things that's going to help you. What is that thing that just lights you up? Okay, and how is it different than an everyday passion for somebody else, right? You know, there are people that might be great skateboarders. I have a client who was a great skateboarder and a surfer, and so he found a way to turn something that they need into a great product, okay, and a great company. So how are you going to be doing that? Number 4 is think top down. And what you want to do is think top down trend driven ideas. Okay. So if you think about it and you're like, wow, I wonder if that's a new trend and it's starting to come, from the top down, these could be driving it, right? And how can you sort of surf that wave before anybody else gets out there? You see that the trends can create fast mover companies with little competition. How can you get on the front end of the wave, right? On the nadir, the peak, rather than when it drops. So what is a trend for you right now? Obviously, in the market right now, AI is more than a trend. It's almost becoming a tsunami, but it really doesn't have that much adoption yet, even though it's talked about. And if you're into AI, you think it's everywhere. But what's really fascinating, if you put your finger on the market and you take the temperature of the market, there's a lot of people that aren't even touching that yet. So how could you get in on that in a new way? And maybe there is something that you can combine some of these things, some of your passions and some new trends with technology, right? How could you do something that you can get on the front end, right? I used to always say, I'm looking for the next tulip market, something that's going to come up and be a big trend that you can ride. Now, keep in mind, you want to understand that not all trends last. So don't go for a fad that is not going to last forever. You still want to build a company that you can continue to expand on. It doesn't mean that your first idea is your last idea. A lot of companies started as one thing and then became something else, like Play-Doh and sticky notes. They started as one thing, didn't quite work, did a pivot, and went to something else and tagged onto, or created a trend of their own. So again, if you want these steps and a whole bunch more on how to do it, examples for each one of these, go ahead and get the handbook, and you can access it right away and start picking a couple of these strategies so that you can have an amazing startup, knowing where to find the money, how to find the idea, how to finance it, how to launch it, how to market it, how to find partners. There's a lot, okay? So strategic insight. How are you with this? This is where a lot of people miss. Okay, do you have the foresight to know what is coming? And a lot of people are just sort of sitting on the back and they're just watching, wondering, waiting. What you want to do is get on the front of that. You want to have the foresight so that you can know what will change tomorrow that nobody can see today. And you know where an interesting place to do this in? I find it fascinating that if you do travel, a lot of times what's happening in other countries hasn't even come to the country that you're in. And I would see this a lot in Europe. And people are doing really fascinating things. And you bring those items over to the United States and you have an amazing trend. You have foresight and you don't have any of the competition. So it's a great way for first mover advantage. The next thing is number 6. I want you to think about a successful variation. How can you take something that was successful? You don't have to be the first mover, but you can be the next mover. Something that somebody has done, put a little twist on it, your own spin, and then it can blow up. An example would be how Airbnb, right, is great for rentals of homes. Well, you know what else? They are now doing the same thing for RVs. And you know what's even more interesting, this is an idea I love, is taking the whole Airbnb concept for pools. And if you have a house with a pool, people are actually renting out your backyard and pool for pretty hefty sums. So imagine that. You don't even have to clean the house. You can just let them rent the backyard, play in the pool, hose it down when they're all gone, and that's it, right? You don't even have to buy a $100,000 motorhome to make that work, or a $500,000 house that you have to rent out to turn it into an Airbnb. Just open up your fence in the backyard, and there you go. So think about this. What's happening right now? You can put a little spin on it. And a lot of ideas came out of the pandemic. Why? Because money is made in the meltdown. And if there's a meltdown coming, what could you do? There's so many trends going on right now, so many shifts in the economy, in the way people are thinking, and in the trends and the way society is moving, that you could really take advantage of that from a local and a global perspective. Now, the next thing I want you to think about is a broken industry. What is getting a little long in the tooth? What's starting to age? And maybe it's starting to become obsolete. How could you disrupt that? And think about how we've gone through lots of technologies, right? We've been through fax machines. We've been through, what do you call those, beepers? We've had the, what was this, Blackberries, and then flip phones. Like, technology just keeps growing and growing and growing, and they almost make it with planned obsolescence so that it becomes obsolete so that you will buy the next new product. And how do you know when it is to buy it? Because people will buy a new version of something when the new thing that you have is 20% greater than what they have. So why does Apple and Android and Galaxy and all of that come out with a new phone all the time? Because all they have to do is just a little bit better, right? Make the camera a little bit better, make a few more apps in it. Maybe it's just a little bit bigger. Sometimes it's like an eighth of an inch bigger, and people go, oh, I need the bigger phone, or they put a pen in it. So now that you can write on it like a tablet, and now the tablets are obsolete, or, even a Kindle, which was so cool in the beginning, but now you can put the app on your phone and everywhere else. You don't need to buy the hardware, right? And they came out with Alexa as these appliances. So now even that is becoming obsolete because of AI. So what's starting to break? What industries are no longer really being served? And how can you find these boring things and turn it into a gold mine? So I hope these ideas are stimulating you on what you can do. Go ahead and get the handbook, and just click on the screen and you can go ahead and get that QR code. I will make that a little bit bigger for you. And the whole point of this is to build a seven-figure and larger business, right? Don't try to build a tiny business. If you're going to work that hard, build a big one. Build something great, and something that'll last, and something that helps people, and something that is memorable. That's really the key to all of this, is you want to make sure that if you're going to work this hard, if you're going to pour your whole heart into a business, you want to have something that will really work. And the question is, how do you know it works? And a lot of times you don't. You're wondering. I have a lot of people that just meet with me for an hour, sometimes for an entire day, and we can look at their entire business and the plan and figure out, is this going to work, right? Are they in the right market cycle, or has the market shifted before they are able to bring their product out to market? And if you want the same thing, then go ahead and book a call with us. All you have to do is go to callconnie.com, and we can look at your system. What are the right products? What are the right teams that you need? Is this the right timing for everything that you're trying to come up with? So if you have an idea, I would love to help you figure out if it's something that you really want to dive into, or maybe it's something you just put on the shelf. Okay, so pick up the phone, right? Book a call with me. I really don't bite. It's 10 minutes and we can talk. And I promise you, if you need more time, we will. But just 10 minutes. Nothing to buy, nothing to sell, and then you can figure out, is this viable? Is this going, as we say, is this going to fly? And that's really the key. So we want to continue on. We've gone through, I think, 6 or 7 of the ideas. We have a few of these left. Let's go into the next one. And let's see here. We want to make sure that, can you guys see that? Okay, so the next one, I think we're on number 7. And this is really about doing a little crowdsourcing. Oh, we're on number 8 already. Okay, so start asking everybody. Ask questions, right? And use the world as your audience. Figure out, how can I make this work? What do you guys want? What is on their wish list? Okay? Like if you could have anything, or you could make this work perfectly for you, what would you do? How would it look? Okay? Figure out what people want. Figure out what people don't want, what they don't like. That is going to be a bigger offer an opportunity for you than what they do want, because there's just a little bit more of the same. But if they're not getting what they want, people will pay more to get what they want faster, easier. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then what we want to do is look at number 9. Okay, and that's the 10x rule. I want you to think quantum leaps. How can you make something so amazing? How could you 10x it? Make it faster, make it better, make it easier, make it smoother, make it sexier, make it simpler. What could you do 10x in one direction? Okay, and that way you're taking big leaps, right? We talked about that 20%. Take big leaps, not just little tiny tweaks. Okay, and yes, you can make iterations along the way. That's important. But when you're going out to launch that thing, look around and make sure this is just so much better than everything else. It's worth the effort to maybe take a little longer to deliver something that's absolutely excellent and mind-blowing. Okay, and isn't that what we want? We want the best of the best. So the 10th idea is idle assets. What value is there in something that people just aren't using anymore, right? What has been retired? What's just kind of sitting around, and maybe you could repurpose that, right? And you want to unlock some of these hidden assets. And sometimes these retired assets are actually people. Like if you look at in society, the aging market is a huge market. And how can you tap into that? These retiring people. Number one, you could use these people in your business. And number two, there's a whole amount of problems that they have in their lifestyle and the way they live and the things that they want that are not being addressed. And oftentimes it's because they hang on to old ideas. And so how can you take some of these old ideas like we talked about and make them more new, make them relevant, or bring something back to life, right? And Airbnb turned out something boring like hotel rooms, right? And turned it into amazing returns for the company. So what's starting to become obsolete? Look around, read the news, figure out where are people saying the companies are closing, they're being retired. Look at all the retail space that is just sitting there because companies are closing, because people aren't getting out of their car and going anywhere. And what could you bring back, right? Get it out of retirement. Oftentimes, you think about, what do people do in their leisure time? Are they always on tech, or how does the pendulum swing the other way, right? Everyone's gone to technology, but so the retired thing might be something that's analog, right? Something that people like. Maybe there's a way to bring board games more current for people as a thing to do, right? So where are these trends coming from? Big trends right now, pickleball. Okay, how can you use some of these 10 ideas and tap into that market? Okay, some of these sports are like endless as far as how long you can be in that business. Think about how fanatical people are with their sports, especially like golf, right? With skiing, I used to just have thousands of outfits and skis and everything, and I just had to have the best of the best of the best. Where can you tap in to these fanatical markets? Okay, and now you want to figure out, okay, I've got these ideas. How do I know it's going to work? You have to test it fast. Number one, if you're doing it by yourself, just by, I think people would like this, or talk to my mom and my dad, and you just talk to your immediate circle, it's not going to work. You need outside eyes and ears, and you need to put that vehicle on the road, right? When we had the racing company, we would do all sorts of simulators and had all these, we had go-karts to test in and simulators, and then we did game tracking, on the computer, all kinds of things. But it didn't matter. You couldn't tell if you were getting any better until you actually went on the road. And so you have to get that product out there. So are you able to test that fast? The other thing in racing, right, if you didn't have a really great crew chief and somebody who was telling you this, here, plan this, do this, there's a big crowd up above, there's an accident on turn 4, right? If you don't have somebody in your corner and on all corners, you're not going to make it, okay? So again, if you need somebody to help you out, that's what our consulting agency will do, is we can look at your idea, we can help you from startup to sell out, right? When you want to sell the company out. Or maybe you just want to buy a company. Maybe you want to figure out, is it time to sell my company? Or is it time to pivot into a different market? All of these things are what we can help you out with. So remember, ideas are cheap, okay? It's the validation that's everything. How can you test to make sure this is going to work? And so work with somebody who's proven in that field, in that market, to help you do that, okay? And test it fast. Test it in a week. Compress time. That's one of the best things you can do in your business, is shorten the time length and compress the time. And if nobody bites, nobody's moving on it, move on, okay? So here I want to kind of summarize all of this for you with the 5 biggest mistakes that founders make, all right? First of all, they're chasing solutions in search of a problem. You need to be looking for problems, okay, and create a solution for that. Not just say, hey, look what I made and this will help X. No, you want to say, look at this problem. I will give you the solution to that, right? You want to be a solution provider for the problems, okay, not a solution creator. And then a lot of people are waiting for the perfect idea. Oh, it's not perfect enough. It's not perfect enough. Or I need more tools. I need more, support. I need the funds before I can go out there. Not everybody needs to get outside funding, angel funding. Some of the best companies are bootstrapped. I bootstrapped 5 multi-million-dollar companies. Didn't have any outside funding, and they all did phenomenally well. So what are you doing? How can you do the same thing? And sometimes people marry their first idea and they won't let go, okay? This is in the SOAR formula that we teach. This is called attachment. So you have to let go sometimes of that first idea. It might have been a great idea, but maybe it's just a catalyst. Maybe it's a stepping stone to the next thing that you need to do. And quitting because it's hard. Guess what? It's just hard, okay? It can be simple. Not necessarily easy. So yeah, this is hard because the gains at the end are mind-blowing. It's absolutely awesome. If you stick to this and you know first that you have a good idea and then you don't let go and you keep working that, I promise you it's worth all the blood, sweat, and tears that you're going to go through in the process. And the 5th thing that owners do wrong is they ignore the boring businesses. Boring businesses do really well. Think about those things that people make, the little widgets and the screws and the nuts and incredible things that you don't think about. You don't go, I need to go buy that. Sometimes it's just parts, it's support things, it's the things that make things work, okay? But sometimes you don't have to be new and exciting. You can be boring. And the other thing is, you don't have to start it from scratch if you don't want to. You can buy something. You can buy a business and then treat it like a startup for the day that you get in there. A lot of our clients do that, and they're like, I don't want to start up something new, but I can take something that has really good bones and then grow that. So if you need some help with that, let us know. That might be your best option. So I want you to remember, the gold is hiding in plain sight. Ideas are everywhere, but you do have to stay attentive to them. Write them down. Train your brain to be a reticular activating system, to look for ideas, look for businesses, look for connections, and look for people. And that boring box can be your jackpot. So I want to leave you with this. I want you to build for the future. Don't just do something that's right now. Yes, AI is everywhere, but AI is also disrupting itself. so many AI companies just go out every 3 months like that because something new keeps coming up. So build for the future, not just capitalizing on what's right now. Okay, think 3 years down the road, will this still be relevant? Okay, and if you do that, I promise you, you can actually get your startup to be a great legacy and iconic business. So if you enjoyed this, please go ahead and get the handout, get the Startup Handbook, and then make sure you come back here next Tuesday at 5 o'clock. We will be live and we will have an incredible strategy for you in order to scale your business 4 times faster in the next year. So we will see you then. Have a great day and be iconic.